Hello everyone and welcome to the dojo. Here I have a video for you which is just going to be a blind react to the patch notes released today and my general thoughts on the changes. Let's jump right in. Hey folks, it's our first balance patch of the year and this one's primarily targeting item build diversity with a sprinkling of hero balance. More changes and improvements are cooking, which you can expect to see soon in future patches. Until then, we've heard community feedback and hope these changes not only help level out the meta a bit, but also shake things up to keep you on your toes. Import game designer. Okay, I want to rush to the changes. But by the way, Import, I actually have an interview with him on the channel when he was back when he was a tester. So check it out if you haven't. Heroes, Countess. First up is Countess. We've mainly focused on giving her some small stat adjustments to tweak her late game durability, as well as her general slipperiness. Her healing potential is still something we're keeping an eye on, especially because we know that she will be one of the heroes impacted by some of the item changes that we've implemented in this patch. Rest assured, we'll be monitoring your feedback and will adjust her further if needed. Base health increased by 10. Health growth decreased. Oh. Movement speed decreased too. Wow. Recall duration decreased. Whoa. I think this is like the most impactful change for Countess. Really. Because think about it. You don't, if you play Countess, there's so many times that you slip back in that last 0.5 seconds. And now people like smart players, they're going to see you shadow slip and they're going to count in their head. And then they're gonna, if they have a stun, they're gonna let it rip at the last possible second to deny you that. And the fact that it's half a second, the window is half a second shorter, it's gonna be a lot easier to deny. Like this makes yeah, it makes an impact, but this, wow, this is like the biggest one by far, in my opinion. Decker. Every team needs a good support hero, so today we're also looking at Decker, slightly improving her damage output to help her compete in lane. Base physical power increased. Okay. All right. Cool. Drongo. Shrapnel cannon. Bug fix. Now correctly states the CC immunity in the description. Well, I sure hope it does. Because like it didn't state it previously in the description. And you still get CC'd using shrapnel cannon. I don't know if I hope that I see that fixed in the bug fixes. Because if not, there's sometimes when you use R to try to escape some kind of CC, it doesn't work. It doesn't cleanse itself. But hopefully they address that. Gadget. Gadget is another hero getting some attention this week. Specifically, we've nerfed her sticky mine ability slightly, but to compensate and level out her damage output, we've also increased this ability's scaling slightly. You nerfed her mine by increasing the damage scaling. Okay. I have to read more to understand. As with all our heroes, we'll be keeping an eye on her and making further adjustments if necessary. Sticky mine scaling increased by 65 to 70%. Cooldown increased from 8. Okay, so 2 seconds per level. Okay, that's good. But it's kind of like Gadget's a monster. She is a powerhouse, and I think she's better after this because yeah, she can't throw as many mines, right? It's true. Let's see. So by the time she throws, yeah, it'll take her 40 seconds to throw 5 mines as opposed to 30 previously. So that's pretty big. That is considerable. Less mines, more damage. But, you know, her speed gate root duration decreased. Oh, thank goodness. This thing was so good. 1.25 seconds. Yeah, it was speed gate. This is great. Awesome. Yeah, Gadget might be she might be the best mid laner. I think the person who is giving her the most competition for the mid lane mage role is Gideon. And Howie's very close too. But like what she brings to controlling space, I don't think any other character in the game can compete, especially in important spaces like Orb Prime and Fangtooth, which is why she's so good and she saw so much play in the recent tournaments. But I don't this I still feel like it might be a buff, because I think the way that fights play out, she's going to be throwing her mind constantly, and maybe if you in one fight, which it does happen, she'll throw like 4 to 5 mines. Like now she'll get one less, but those 4 will do more damage. And basically, if you prioritize squishies, you're doing more damage to the squishies. But we'll see how it goes. This change, I'm perplexed, and I'll be honest, guys, I don't know how to feel about it, but I think Gadget is still going to be top tier. She's like, yeah, definitely top tier. Grux. Grux has been naturally very dominant in the off lane, with few heroes able to meet his overwhelming aggression. Today, we're lowering his durability a smidge to make playing him more of a challenge, giving more opportunities for enemy heroes to punish his hostile playstyle. Okay, base health decreased and base physical armor decreased. That's decent. Because basically Grux just he does so much damage. Once he pops his ult, you have to scatter like cockroaches. Will this be enough? Maybe. It's certainly going to help a little bit. But I just feel like Kallari players see this change and then they start salivating, like, add another tasty treat to the list, you know. Howitzer. Howitzer's landmine ability has been subject to some tweaks and improvements this week. We've lowered the distance an enemy mine can knock you back to tackle some of the frustration of being mined from far away. In tandem to this, we've also increased the self-inflicted knockback distance that comes from using the ability, letting Howitzer get back up to middle lane from the river. We hope you find these changes to be a blast to play with. Could you really not jump up to the river? I'm pretty sure you always could, but you had to jump. Like, you had to position it and then jump, and then you can knock yourself. I could be wrong. I did it during the playtests, but maybe they change it afterwards. Enemy targets decrease. Yeah, I mean, that's a nice change, I think. Kallari. Kallari's 1-2 item power spike has been pretty substantial compared to many other heroes, which has led to the few changes today that we hope will better balance her on the field. As ever, we'll be monitoring her performance and your feedback to make further tweaks if needed. Deathmark. Base damage increased from 40 to 65, 90. Okay, so it's like an additional 5 per level. Scaling has been decreased. Yeah, so that's a big nerf. That's a decent nerf. I would much rather have the scaling decrease than the base damage. And for those of you who may not know, it's the scaling that the damage that Deathmark does based off of missing HP, so that it's going to be overall weaker in from what I can tell. Guillotine. Base damage decreased. Oh wow, so she got nerfed. Okay, cool. Kallari is definitely like her and Countess are like the pub stomp heroes in the game right now, like the best ones. And her burst is absolutely insane. Yeah, I like this change. I had a Kallari go 1-3, and I killed her twice as the opposing jungler, only to have her go 30-4. So I like this change. Maybe it'll help, help Kallari face more challenges in the early game. Okay, Chimera. Spirit regeneration passive. Bug fixed. In-game description now correctly states the duration of 2.5 seconds instead of 3. Okay. Narbash. Calling all orcs. Narbash's late game healing is going up. We think this change will really help his ability to support his allies, but as usual, we'll be monitoring Narbash's performance going forward. Oh, so that's cool. I think Narbash is a very slept on support. I just think that in like random games, you're gonna get less effectiveness out of him. And if you have like people duo queuing or trio queuing and stuff like that, you can have some really cool strategies with him that are just pretty insane. But I like this change. This is he's gonna be. We're not. I don't think we're gonna really feel the impact of this change right now. I think we're gonna feel it later on once there's a lot more characters in the game, and you have more characters that can contribute to like a composition that wants to fight prolonged battles. So just to give you an example, right? Like Narbash, Sevrog, Gadget, right? You have Gadget like being far away, throwing stuff, Sevrog in the front line while Narbash is healing the Sevrog, and you could sprinkle whatever the other two heroes there. But he definitely shines during prolonged fights, and I don't know, maybe this change is more significant than I realize, and you're just gonna you're gonna have an enemy team pick one of your players, and then they're just gonna wait and heal up, and then try to engage 5v4 or something like that. I think he's very slept on and underrated, and I think we're probably gonna see a lot more of him moving forward. Sevarog. Poor Sevarog has really struggled lately to survive the early game thanks to his low durability, something we've addressed slightly today. The goal is to help Sevarog effectively scale to become the tank his team needs. So we've bumped up his sustainability alongside his durability to help stop wild rhinos from running him down. Grux is not a rhino. Base health increased from, okay. Sweet, 10 HP. Siphon, minion healing. Oh, wow. Oh, this one is very big. Because it's like, you say you hit the 3 melee minions, instead of getting 30% back, you get 45. So it's kind of like, at this point, it's like, previously you would have to hit 4.5 minions to get that kind of bang for your buck. Wow, very nice, very nice. He's gonna have a lot of sustain. You're gonna see a lot of more Sevarog in the solo lane, especially in tandem with the Grux changes. He might be like the I haven't read Steel's section yet, but he might be like the next Steel of solo lane. Steel. Everyone's favorite big orange cyborg continues to be a strong offlaner thanks to his ability to comfortably scale into team fights. In today's balance patch, we're hitting his early game mana pool, opening up opportunities for enemy heroes to punish him if he commits too hard. Bull Rush. Mana cost change from... Okay, that's an interesting change. Wow. Considerable change. Yeah, I think less aggressive players are not really going to feel that, but the more aggressive ones, yeah, maybe that's where Steel is like, he is probably the best character in the game. And is this a nerf? Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna really reel him back. I was thinking there was gonna be more, but I can understand why they don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction and nerf, overly nerf, because we want things to be strong and feel powerful, so when we play them we have a lot of fun, and Steel is definitely a character that's a real joy to play. Item crests. Rogue crest. Physical power increased. Sweet. I like that change. Yeah, more power for those. I like those crests. Tempest. As a part of our efforts to combat the many tank mage builds that have cropped up lately while keeping Gideon's Tempest True Silver build intact, we've tweaked the damage numbers on Tempest. Interesting. So the base damage is overcharged. Base damage is increased, but the scaling is increased. Base damage decreased, scaling increased. Cool. I haven't, I'll be honest, I haven't used Tempest that much, so I can't really comment too much on it. So, but maybe somebody out there watching the video, if you made it this far, thank you. I love going over patch notes. And if you use Tempest, let me know your thoughts on Tempest, on the Tempest changes. I would love to hear your opinion. Tier 2, Lockshaw. Lockshaw is getting reworked to fit larger changes to the Leviathan item, which you can find further down this page. Cost decrease. Wow. Health decreased. Wow. Wow. Receiving magical damage reduces. Is this like the anti-countess item? Recipe changed. Was Vitality Crystal Lifestream, now Vitality Crystal Wraps. Wow. Well, good luck, Countess players. You have your work cut out for you because you're going to be seeing this item a lot, and it's going to ruin your day. All Countess players, when you see somebody building this item, you don't attack them. You basically, from that point on, you prioritize all the other targets. I guess this is a way to just kind of negate Countess blowing up tanks, because this is insane. This is like, as a tank, if you have a Countess that's popping off, there's probably like this now contends Unbroken Will as like the item for magic damage. Okay, that's a cool change. We'll see the tier 3 item in a little bit. Astro Catalyst. Long awaited. This is for Ray. That guy has great taste in music. Ravenous passive. Ultimate cooldown reduction on takedown decreased from 25. Thank goodness, man. Yeah, this item was way overtuned. It was ridiculous. Especially on the Fae, where she just does her ult, and then 7 seconds later, her like she kills 3 people, and then like 12 seconds later, her ult is up again. So I really, really like this change. So far, my absolute favorite item change of this patch, Astral Catalyst was always this kind of situation. It was always this kind of situation where you thought, okay, this is going to get nerfed eventually, and it finally did. Awesome. I really like that change. Augmentation. We've adjusted augmentation stats slightly to help it stand out from the other items, giving it a more unique identity and hopefully paving the way for more unique builds with the item. Oh, wow. Less attack power, more attack speed. Yeah, I really like this item. I think it's quite cool. Unfortunately, the characters that I want to build it on don't really make good use of it. Like, I try to throw augmentation on Fang Mao every chance I get, but it's kind of like... You obviously want to have this on like a Grux more, where it just empowers your autos, and you know, because the passive on augmentation boosts your move speed, I believe, of well, which is not that bad on Fang either, to be honest. Yeah, I'm definitely going to give this a try, because I had some builds in mind that I've been theory crafting for Fang, and the biggest gap I had in the builds was attack speed. This might solve it. I think the change is interesting. It's kind of sucks the physical powers decreased, but hey, you can't have it. You can't have everything, right? And augmentation, you know, with its passive, it does make sense. So very cool change. Can't wait to see. Can't wait to try it out. Demolisher. Bursty ad carry builds have been taking over, and Demolisher is one of the larger contributors to this. With Revenant on his way and Crit Kalari showing up more, we feel comfortable taking Demolisher down a notch. Wow! Additional damage first strike passive. Damn. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Kalari players. Thanks a lot, Kalari. You basically got this item nerfed. But thank goodness, because this item just would be a complete nightmare on Revenant. For those of you, I mean, many of you, most of you know why, but for anybody who doesn't understand why this would be amazing on Revenant, is because now previously the way Revenant worked was he has a revolver and he has 4 shots, and after you shoot those 4 shots, you have to reload, and the 4th shot gives like bonus damage. I think it's like it has a it's a guaranteed crit or something like that, right? We don't know Predecessor's version exactly. But what players would do is the Revenant players would leave the fourth bullet in the trigger and they would engage on a target, shoot, so they pop that damage, that bonus damage, and while they're reloading, they would hit you with his combo where it's like he has like one nuke where he spits, and all the spits they land on the target. And this item is perfect for that exact character. So this nerf probably yeah. If it was just Kalari, it wouldn't be so bad. But since they decided Rev is the next character, they were like, yeah, we have to. This is a nerf where they wanted to address the problem before it became a problem. I really like this change. It shows that Omida has some really good foresight, especially when it comes to game design. So I'm pleased. Dust Devil. We've given some nice quality of life buffs to Dust Devil to better emphasize the more fun perks of the item. The movement speed and attack speed. Yeah, that's absolutely true. That's the most fun part about it. The aim is for the item to feel easier to buy as it offers more bang for a buck. Sign me up. I tried to build this every chance I could. Menace. Passive attack speed increased from 2 to 3. Nice. Yes. Dust Devil. Guys, use this item. Yeah, I think you're going to enjoy it. But don't use it if you can't land your shots. Because you got to land your shots, kid. Legacy. Up until this point, you lost 10 physical power from completing Legacy. So today we've given it the correct amount of physical power while adjusting its haste to compensate. This item is already a very potent as a second or third option. So this should hopefully help it fall in line as more of a niche tech option rather than being a necessary pickup every game. This item is phenomenal. It really, really was. And a lot of people didn't really know how good it was. I don't know if it was necessary pickup every game. I think that's overstating it, but it was definitely an item that people skipped over. Physical power increased from 30 to 40. Ability haste decreased. Yeah, some characters are like, you're gonna see this a lot more on Chimera. Absolutely, this is phenomenal because with characters like Chimera, he has such low cooldowns. Who cares? You lost 10 ability haste. You gain 10 power. Yeah, that's a trait a Chimera would want every day of the week. But other characters like maybe a Feng Mao, it's a little bit worse potentially on how you build into it. Overall, I think it's a very cool change. I quite like it. Leviathan. This one I've seen a lot of like YouTube thumbnails and stuff. I didn't watch it and I just ignored it. But that I'm looking forward to that. Honestly, I can't wait. So, Leviathan. From a design standpoint, it's been problematic thanks to its potential for mage abuse and its positioning as a must-have item as a haste capstone for tanks. To combat this, we're shifting its identity to new and much-needed anti-heal magical armor item. Yeah. This provides a new option for tanks who need solutions to help them counter heroes like Countess, as well as upcoming sustained-based magical damage heroes that we'll be adding into the future. Huntress. Maybe. It probably shouldn't be, actually. Yeah. No, it shouldn't be. It's not Huntress. Huntress is probably going to be physical damage. But when I read that, I was like, what? Anti-heal magical armor item? I completely forgot that that's what they changed it into, 5 minutes ago. You can expect a rename for this item in the next patch to help it stay on theme with the other anti-heal options. Tainted chestplate. Oh, you did it again, Omida, you clever. No, I'm just kidding. And as usual, we'll be watching for feedback. Just tainted. It's tainted breastplate, tainted chassis. I don't know. It's gonna be some tainted something. Cost decreased. Okay, nice. Health decreased. Okay. Health regen decreased. That's reasonable. Like, but for the paying less losing 50 HP and this much regen, 75% for 30 magical damage. That's a good trade-off. Passive reworked. New passive, Blighted Veil, receiving 40%. Yeah. New passive Colossus. Gain 5% damage mitigation. Doubled versus targets affected by Blight. Wow. Wow. Just overall damage mitigation. Just, if I understand it clearly, is it physical too? I mean, they should specify. I'm assuming it's only magical because it's magical armor. But if it really is 5% overall damage mitigation, then this is like this item is really good. I still don't like, if you're trying to counter magical damage, I still don't see it being purchased over Unbroken Will, because Unbroken Will is just insane. Because when you think about Unbroken Will, generally stuns come from magic damage sources, and so when that happens, you heal, you gain 20% damage reduction for 2 seconds, and you also have magic armor and health. So will this replace? I don't think that this will dethrone Unbroken Will, but this is however, if this is the 5% damage mitigation is for both physical and magical damage, oh man, this is like, you'd be foolish not to buy this every game. At least you would definitely save a slot for it as a tank. I mean, it's just really good. But I think the key thing here is the Blighted Veil with receiving magical damage. Because if you're against a team with like physical bruisers mainly, and physical damage, and they have one Countess that's the biggest damage dealer, or a Gideon, you're not, well, or again, all right, let's be more realistic about who the characters you build against. If they only have like one source of magical damage, and it's an immense amount of magical damage, like Countess and Shinbi will be, then it's not really worth it just for one character, even though it would apply, because you're losing too much for the other members of the composition. But still, pretty phenomenal. Very interesting item, and I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what other players fit it in, where they fit it in, like third item, fourth item, fifth item, or maybe even second. Who knows? I see this as possibly for me. I'm just taking a guess here. Like the earliest, the third item. Does it still build stacks like it used to? I don't think it does, right? Yeah, it doesn't build stacks anymore, so there's no reason to what people used to, oh, you guys already know, people would build Lock Shawl to build the stacks throughout the early game while building other items, and then they would complete it. So that none of that is happening anymore. So Leviathan, you don't want to do that. Yeah, I see this as like, this is probably going to be a great third item. And it also depends on the character and situation, so do keep that in mind. It's not just like a third item always. You always have to assess the situation properly. Malady. Combined with other compounding effects, Malady has been one of the biggest factors behind Kalari's recent dominance. Increasing this item's cost will hopefully alleviate that a bit. Hopefully. We can only hope, right? That 100 gold, man, that's going to set her back. Mutilator. The Mutilator's anti-tank identity and overall stat line has made it feel like a must-buy for many characters. Yeah, this item is ridiculous. We're hoping that today's nerfs open up more build paths and more diversity for more bruisers. Mutilate passive damage decreased from 1.25% of the target's maximum health to 1% of the target's maximum health. That's big. thank goodness. Devour maximum health steal, yes. Oh man, I don't think you're gonna see Mutilator much anymore. It's still gonna be decent and it's still a great option, absolutely. Because this maximum health steal, that sometimes you'd be fighting characters that have this, and they just seemingly healed like 30%, and it's just that they stole the health. And so it was like very weird to like try to calculate in your mind before you engaged on them, because it like if another teammate came, it could possibly save them and help them win the fight. There was some, I encountered some weird situations, but all in all, I really like this change. We'll see how popular Mutilator is now. It was like one of these staple items in early access thus far, and I don't think that's going to be the case moving forward. I think you're going to still see people get it, but it's not going to be as dominant as it was. Nightfall. This change is actually more of a bug fix in disguise, as previously you were losing stats for completing this item before today. Nightfall now has a brand new recipe, and we've also lowered its cost a bit to make it easier to buy. Okay, 100 was home. Okay. I forgot what Nightfall does. I wonder if it's no, it's not the one that maybe it's the one where you isolate, like you deal isolation damage to a hero that's by itself. I don't know. That's not important, but it's cheaper now, and I think that's good. Raiment of Renewal. These raiment changes are part of continued initiative to combat abuse cases from characters with innate sustain. You abuse bugs. You utilize game mechanics. There's nothing wrong with. Oh man. I mean, it's this is a really sad change. I'll tell you why. Because you there's a lot of anti-heal in the game. A lot of it, and when you played a team that was smart and utilized anti-heal, you have to play completely differently, especially as like a chimera. And if you really wanted to try to just impose your will and basically say my sustain is here to stay, Raiment of Renewal was your best chance, and it wasn't even that great. Like you didn't, when they've just been tagging you with anti-heal the whole entire time, it's not like buying Raiment of Renewal was like, yes, now the ball's in my court. No, it wasn't even like that. It was just you basically the disadvantage you have, you mitigated that, like not even that well, decently. And it's super expensive for what you're buying. You're just like, a lot of the times if you don't buy it at the right moment, you're just buying an item that's going to help you die a little bit slower, and your contribution to the fight is just nothing else. You just die a little bit slower, which seems like, hey, that's great for tanks, but this is just, there's no armor. Like you get melted. This is not like yeah, the health is great, but you'd be surprised how quickly that health melts, and the fact that it gets reduced healing. Like who I know Rampage. I'm sure people saw it on him and thought that was great. Yeah, I'm sad about this change. Maybe it's necessary. Oh well. Tainted Guard has been the subject of some big nerfs along with tank itemization, and now, with the changes to Leviathan, we're looking to slot in a bit of ability haste to slow tank builds to offset the overall haste loss. Okay. This should hopefully maintain this item's usefulness as a competitive option if you need anti-heal. Yeah, I mean, this is this is the counterpart to Leviathan, because it's for the physical damage, not the magical. Tainted Rounds. I mean, all in all, this is a nice little upgrade, because this item it wasn't like particularly, like, you never bought this item and you were like, yeah, Tainted Guard. Yeah. No, it never happened. But all in all, a pretty decent change. So, Tainted Rounds. On-hit focus builds haven't seen much play as we've wanted, so today we've adjusted Tainted Rounds to try to make it more appealing for people to buy and try out. Attack speed. Yeah, I mean, this is like it's tough because you don't ever really want the carry to buy this. Ideally you want the carry to have other people apply the healing debuff so that the carry can buy like the biggest damage boosting items. So this is a nice change for Tainted Rounds. Maybe we'll see it fit in more. Tainted Totem. This change is directly targeting abuse cases from non-support characters. That's right, Crunch Rampage accounts. Nirvana no longer applies to the holder of Tainted Totem. Wow, that's a massive nerf. Wow. I really liked this item on Chimera too. Wow. That's this change, it's probably for the best for the health of the game. It is sad to see, but I hold that it's probably best for the overall health of the game, yeah. Because I ran this on Chimera, and you can imagine you got increased healing, a slow aura on Chimera, physical magical armor, and the mana regen wasn't too shabby either. But this is, yeah, this is also, but this also indirectly nerfs support characters because you have Narbash who's no longer going to benefit from it. So it's a double-edged sword. Narbash players should be conscious of that, because this Tainted Totem was the Narbash item, amazing in every single regard for Narbash, probably the best bang for your buck of any item in the entire game. And now you don't really get that same bang for the buck since the healing boost doesn't apply to you. Still a great item on Narbash though. Tectonic Mallet. Tectonic Mallet had a major bug that meant it was almost a deficit to pick up. Yeah. I like the concept. The thing that I hate the most about Tectonic Mallet is the art. It's like the visual perception of it. It just breaks my mind every time I look at it because it's not a three-dimensional object. I don't know what the hell that is, but it's not a mallet. It's like a spatula, and it bothers me every single time I think about it. It should be called the Tectonic Spatula. Now we fix this, making this mallet a very powerful item for bruisers that synergizes well with items like Augmentation or Void Helm. Okay, let's see. Description now correctly states that Tectonic Mallet grants 5% additional move speed, magical armor decreased from 40 to 30, magnitude passive. Okay. No longer factors in the combat penalty for bonus power. Okay, I'm not too familiar with I have to like read the item description to really know the extent of this change, but I've seen it. I was perusing Twitch Predecessor streams today, and I've heard some people talk about this item, so it's definitely something that I'm gonna look into. Terminus Terror no longer. Fixed bug, the shield can be that the shield could be stacked infinitely. Oh, okay. That's why in some games I would see like the Murdoch's health bar be like 30% and there was 70% white health bar. I was like, damn. I didn't understand it, but okay. That was a bug. I did not know that. Okay. True Silver Bracelet. This is another change targeting the mage tank builds that have been cropping up more and more lately. We'd love for this item to remain a staple pickup for Narbash and Gideon, so these changes are there to help position this item as a less enticing buy for characters like Gadget. Health decreased. Okay. Health nerf. Void Helm. Finally, we have some nice quality of life improvements for Void Helm. Keep in mind that movement speed has diminishing returns, so generally, while this is nice, we're mindful of and will be monitoring movement speed creep. Just a car. I quite like Void Helm It absolutely is a pretty interesting item. Very cool. Very cool. And that concludes the patch notes. So guys, we've been going at it for almost 40 minutes now. Wow, time flies when you're going over patch notes. At least for me. What were your favorite parts of the patch, guys? Was it a character change? Was it an item? Was it a hint at a change that they're making now to prepare for the future? What are your thoughts? Please let me know in a comment down below. If you're interested in more Predecessor content, please also consider subscribing to the channel. There's plenty more Predecessor content on the way. And as always, fight on, friends.